Meda wasene ma kwa ba edi Abaka Maker TV so share video no ema me wo ho comment nso ano watro edi ama me o comment section no ase. Efisensema ma me do ba besum di abusua enye asem ketwa kwa ni nyina ekọ edi afa chese NPP manifesto achese ndrada omo be redi di che Ghana fo de nsem ebetu edwa na omo be ka asem yi no abusua fo enye we social media no so we NDC fo afem ene afensu Ghana fo mpanyimfo no mu bi afem no enye asem ketwa kwa we yi kan de ugrofo omo kire omadwen edi afa ho no enye ensem ketwa kwa na ni nyina no ansa kokogin tisem no mu chechemu no na abusua me kan fu the teen house eye so bromatu ni din se hibiscus view edi amount so obeji so blobi edi agu minim ti wutie video ni mu nsem nyina na wo sepede kakan kakra fi se nsem no emu ensem asusun yie pa na ye mo nra ensem ni mu eni nyina efa manifesto ndrada NPP4 ede betu edwa ne ho na busuafo eno na de chiye general mosquito esi edunketi akasa ede afon so no de manifesto hu se eye concept manifesto eno mbe wedi ye ede kire Ghana fo di enti eno kan nsem we nyina ene oboni tewtew eka mu nsem ede ekire ye ne
akwa kosi se ankanei enro adwumadie we wo mo sheda ne electoral commission for ne aban eye se yenko ye saa sebi de meme friend say concert show yi
ajeta
na se de be ya
eno mo koye concert
nyina mo discussions ne ne ma nyina media no mu nyina no ebetwe amanfo adwene akọ ebisi de o maka no ye nokre o betimi aye ebisi ye nye nokre o muntimi nye ne ade na major exercise no a ede asundwe beba o man no mu a ehya ase e kina na eho aka de nyina ye nyanye no obi anya ho kwan enka ho asem
ajeta
okay
enunti no I am saying say peace council for your papa no man so for I wo man mu National House of Chiefs for any one more can be a bamu nyina no esre wo mo ne abanya binka na yen kan kire electoral commission say china exercise ya ekoso no wo muntu nhye na yen sanka akade a ye de be ye exercise na ma na ye meaningful because unim yen kan bin shemu na ye ko di 30 say electoral commission for say na ma bi ayira eno kra wo mom ye no besinne mimi gitumu say mfidi a de twere din no o ma hyeda na de akosie ba bi say ye de be fa kwati kwan so atwere nipa o mom fata din de abegum enu nti da bia ye kan say register registration kit amosi ayira yi say ya je ho achinya besinne eduru ba bi me press wo mo say wo mo arrest nipa kora wo mo achi no so wo wi a besinne asisen mfidie no wo he ene aka say saa ne mai mfidie a wo mo de akosie a wo mo be pekwati kwan so de atwere din bi na wo mo de aba begu register no saa bre no nyina na wo mo ayi ane say o eduru provisional register number na ehwehwemu a edin a emfata bia no ye be yi afiri mu registration no exhibition no ne ekoye no chinan okay yeso yensan kan register no a ye de be kwa akọhwehwemu ahunu say edin woyi a aba begu mu yi enye ye ne etwere ye ade sentence ye time ye afiri mu na enti akọhyehyẹ bibi say manifesto launch na eneyi a ankaye nyina ye be sori wo man mu near demand the electoral commission say either you give us the register or you postpone the exhibition till the point I in Sabeka sa provisional register near timidi akoya adwuma no meaningfully no obi atwere edin money bia begumu a yetimi ayi free mu no yakoye manifesto launch ni na de anti munyina obi a manifesto launch ne beka na wo mo ahye da twitwa ntro ne manema no be generate controversy enti obi a dwene be kose
enti ntro no ko mo hyeda
wo mo hyeda seba o me kan nipa ya employ wo mo na wo mo student wing obaba ko so say ya employ nipa 21 million enti eno kura say ye entro kase a e de achinye beba
okay
na posi dum so am throughout na wan kasa so o charge ba kon e dey bow ni say dum so no koso ye say for time table bra o say obi a opese okoye time to ono ankoye ni time table ama so wo man mo national nura was stand ko hwe nipa ni mako gina ho se dum so bi amai teacher for laptops no ne manema a wo mo promises say de beba ne ade nya wako gina ho ye ka say de laptop beba ye mfa mai I mean wo mo ankasa nim say wo mo concoct ne ma e be generate debate no be form no na wo mo de voters register no afa ye kon ho wo mo de voters register no fa Ghana for kon ho a na che say one major plank of their rigging agenda no associated. And I am saying, say, yen pipe down on the discussion of manifesto nema because Sunday morning where does it end? Manifesto home faso wa bato mu ni say wo de won hihye ye to abama o ye ma otumi a wo de bebu man no ama ahotaba enti wo de to Ghana for nanim na o mo nhwe so nto abama inti se wo mugitum se won hihye no ya yebeto abanama wo munyi ntum a yebeto abatia
ni efi general mosquito esi edunketia ebusia no so na famu a ene na ye tiesi eye ya asaneta no enso ho no so ye political analyst ono so bebie nsemu e de afa chese manifesto kroye mu e de akire ye ne oso no de ono krampo no dwen NPP fo ho ontia se no no animu da ese wo mu anga so me produce only 300 plus manifesto committee fo eno no timu sensem wo mu pa no eboye mu akire ye mu ensem ese nan people for sanse na motie ene ye mu nsem de busuafo ene ye owura yo kan bi pa e de akire ye ne
nti highlights na memensa aka no I've been wondering say nti 300 people no ene akire no is that all they could produce
a committee no come here 300 people oh I don't
onti manifesto committee
Nipa 300.
Over 300.
Oh, so nipa mi ensa na 9 kwa betimi asa.
Yo.
Ana.
Enti eno ne asem no, no question na me bi say. Na it's I all said and done. Me tie omo na mako omo highlight ne mo so kakra. I'm here to go to town, I'm a print it. Na put my dots and then T's me cross ni na afe yebe hu baby a esusan ede brode hu ebe akogu mame I am surprised say o hwe omo highlights no ekosi about 44 pages no from page 1 make us more or less it has to do with and I say unnumbered pages which has to do with Dr. Bawumia on Wankasa, any running mate, any other issues. No. The rest, up to about page 30 something, Nina full of normal omo efi se omo buy no omo aye edu aboa Ghana. And I thought, say, for a manifesto launch, no, it is not to tout your achievement. What you pledge to do for the nation if you are voted for. Until me, I was looking at it in a manner where say, "Adia meba beye, ama Ghana fan into my pefra." I wish a normal omo claim so mba omeye no. It's so minute in the whole 44 pages. Yes. Over from numbered pages 1 up to about 30 something. Ningina talks about what they claim they have achieved.
Ebia nia wo mo aye no e na wo mo base on say we no matimi aye nti no omo ba matimi aye. Well, yaka.
Men can say why ye bibia a man on fan share o manifesto. But they should be, I mean those the achievement no. And just highlights of normal by why. Now you rather focus on what you will come and do different to change the system. Now, say we focus more on your past. Your past, so you know, city. To the point, say, one state of baby, say they came to end Dumso. Almost was some state say they added 134.1 megawatt renewable energy to the national grid. into 134.1 renewable no. I don't know how to ever solve them so no. When you came into office, Dumso was a thing of the past. We all agree. Sir, over 3 years we were in Dumso. When it was your turn, you invited pastors to go and pray over the dam. So rains will come. When you yourself, more engaging in Galamsey, you invited pastors to go and pray at the Galamsey site. Now, what sir can say who and did
Galamsey say, "Omuna man so for no go bomb."
Yes.
That's a so for na go.
If you so one kasa so for no kasa na kwa de na omu nie ne so de hu. Nyankopon adom acha de anya bi no no. Ama ye nyansa yemfa enchichiri yeman. Nyansa yemfa mbu man. Na se wo ye sofo, na se wo fi se Nyankopon besi aba beji wo fi Galamsey ayan kasa enam aban ne ye morning ti. Enam Galamsey adukuru ya se yensuo nyina. Now we are soften us also called Bompire. At the point of one cassa soften us will be your concessions. Then you're told one cassa.
And why do you blame the government alone?
The government is part of it. One is starting Galamsey, no. One Ashe Mukina. Gold catches 100 no koto by how many at the moment. And no mum the best say yes, you papa. Because they failed to say, as stated in the Japadia document, no. Say omo illegal means or more the pesca at the Abua party, no. Say Mafonia Bahutuma. So they must find more legal ways. And a legal means somebody be to Galamsey. And no more them no taxes. You got 100 gold catches at the buy. At the buy at the more one cast or moon for 332 small scale miners or more let's say. More can say any license that was given to any small scale miner before July 2016 was null and void. Into Sobekaya. Or more the tableau at to a more mutu fagudi and so. For almost 2 years, agitation for famu demonstration a whole some miners in Babon Tibeka say, yea, any top pickups a whole mamma, your boam, and mamma barbem, and no buy out, what best saying you might. Oh, but no promise, yes, Galamsey, no, won't travel, no, won't travel, and pass or buy and obey looking at the man and call for you. Look at what Galamsey has done to our river bodies.
Yeah, we shouldn't have even entertained it.
Exactly.
And after you soon ye sha yen ran na po eye Martin Opoku Prempeh abusia for Matthew and do can be at the efa journalist for who say we should hand over power to economists but not journalists. And no kwaju twensema bo akwatwetwe ensem kese pa ede aba ama NDC abusia for almost members ni bi aba abonten kase yie pa Edi Efasa and Semi Wunanina NDC Deputy Director of Operation Yanka Saye Mame Sahada to Hassan Ebusian for Onosha Ababontia Bekasa Edi Efasa and Samwa Napo Eka ye edified journalist for one so da Ese yen ranapo obetimi biena no akasa nsem we nyina dia fa journalist for one say we should hand over power to economics but not journalists. Or say hey Yahoo may mu krampo na journalist for wa ha no mo krampo na ekasa dia ma wo na so be kasa asem we nya de fa wo mo ho a na wo pesa wo chede se nti wo se won de o ka de a chede Ghana journalist for so mo swale e wa asem wa ye wanapo ede tu edwa no eho
enro amiti se na Matthew Opoku Prempeh e ka say we should hand over power to an economist and not a journalist. I stand to be corrected. If indeed he said that. If he indeed Matthew Opoku Prempeh said that.
Wow.
I think all journalists in this country, including Wumi Nuaba, should stand up to this. Namuma MPP Amanyuku, any Matthew Opoku Prempeh, NTRCSA, you have always been their mouthpiece. Ewo on my way. We should give our culture Ghana for say. Yamfa on my niche economist in San and not a journalist. We ayatem didie kesi this morning. Na me share radio stations, ni radio stations, ni TV stations. Not what the enemy expected said. Journalists across the media houses. Ebeka Huasem first. No. Because if the Nkrofuna who use Omo as mouthpiece, they can wasem. And this is how you can rate them. Say truly John Dramani Mahama. Then there is a problem. But of course, no yet as a abedru baby a se bi omo a omo ni amanfo ye di tumi ahye wo mo nsa no omo twiti nipa se bi nipa enye hwe. And this is about the third time Matthew Opoku Prempeh kasa ne kasa enche ye, and every time he almost repeats the same thing. But journalists senya misi kan no anka na pay I expect se munyina won sa wo crowd se won tie
Abusuafo yegusua ye tie eye chese endra da manifesto course and before de betu dwa no emu nsem a de chinye Ghana fo nso ede abraye ne gusua ye tie mu ensem na nyina no eye hibiscus brew ene ebeboa ama watimi atie sa ensem we nyina koje wo de na won so fa serve fie se de be ya enkofa animguasie bia emfa embro yanto aswe afenso de abusuafo ene Ghana fo adwenche no edoso pa eye na ye firi ho no mu a ene na ye tie si ensem bi mu ewe yenwura Felix Kwache eho ono so aba be kasa ede be ensem ena yenwura Felix Kwache odi tu edwa ne ensem a wa aba be kanyina ene se ono de ono onji ndida ese the whole NPP ebe decide to behave abnormal the whole NPP so me so madwimu pi aye omoniema bi ti say bibi e wo ho abnormal person for si bi o behave no o so no kwa no nji nida e so be omoniema bi say de be nti na wo kasa ni nyina eye eka arch the sesisi a ebu Ghana man no ekomu a o kire mu say manifesto no betu edwase ane omo aye niema bebre no a e de afa ho ama sisi a ye ka ye de e wo man yi mu no ekofom enti wonti ase wote wono kra mpo no NPP fo ho a otimi da dwene ho a na afi wo tonko wo sa adwendwen ne ho o se na NPP pa e na kire se mu ye mo niema de se abnormal ono akasa wonti omo ase eno nso na busua oboye mu entwemu.
Simply means that the whole MPP has decided that they will behave, quote unquote, abnormally. You see, the normal.
That's unfair.
But I'm coming to explain.
Yes.
I'm coming to explain. You see, the whole institution called the MPP has decided that when they see something that everybody knows and sees to be white, they will say black. Insofar as yes, I'm coming to explain. I'm coming to explain. I'm coming to explain what I mean. You see, insofar as they believe it serves a certain purpose. It's one of the reasons why, from day one, I became implacably opposed to Bawumia and dismissed him right in 2016. Was this illogicality and disrespectful falsehood that he introduced into our politics? Even in calculating the 120 billion Ghana cedis debt of 2016, you know what he did? He held the debt up to Kufuor's time, constant, in terms of the impact of the exchange rates. So he will tell you that they left 9 billion. But the total debt is 120, so we have borrowed 110. It was illogical, did not make sense. Unfortunately, those of you in the media were enchanted by jargons. So when we challenged him, you told us that he was an economic wizard. Now, the thing has boomeranged. And he has X all over his face. But even in the face of incontestable reality, he decides that he will bury his head in the sand like an ostrich and continue in the illogical, disrespectful falsehood that he does. So he is able, Randy, he is able to tell you that there's no difficulty with our debt. If the debt moves from 120 billion to 743 billion, it is okay, because in dollar terms it's only 46 billion. Andy, when they were doing the domestic debt exchange, did they not start with domestic borrowers?
Yes.
Domestic lenders, I beg your pardon. Did they borrow those monies in foreign exchange? Check the Bank of Ghana statistical bulletins. At all material times in the last few years, domestic debt has been more than external debt. That is borrowed in local currency. When they go into the Ghanaian financial markets and borrow, like the finance minister does every month, does he do it in dollars or in cedis? Granted, Senate pensioners, those who are insisting that they should be paid their bond proceeds, did they lend to government in dollars? The domestic debt is more than half of our national debt as we speak, and that is in cedis. And even in the external debt, which contributes less than half of our debt, you have to find cedis to convert to dollars to be able to pay. So the notion that conveniently, you can convert the debt we have into dollars and do comparisons. It's completely flawed. It is absurd. It is illogical. It is a disrespectful falsehood. Rand number 2. The most worrying thing about debt is not even your debt to GDP ratio, because indeed there are countries that have debt to GDP ratios getting to 200%. But it is not a problem.
The servicing.
Because first of all, they borrow at minimal interest rate. Some of them borrow at 0.5%, others at 1%. Yeah. You are borrowing on the international market between 9 and 13%. But more critically, Randy, your ability to service that debt is what determines everything. By 2021, it had become apparent that we were spending close to 92% of all tax revenue on debt servicing. That was when the alarm bells began ringing. They declared bankruptcy and an inability to service debts because of this. What it meant is that if we serviced our debts, there will be nothing left to do anything. That was a time when they reluctantly accepted the IMF's debt restructuring conditionality.
Now, the point I was making to Alhaji was that this 92%, which led to us declaring that bankruptcy or whatever you want to call it, was
in cities.
In cities.
In fact, in the budget, if you check the budget, the appendices, sometimes it's 4A, sometimes it's 3A, depending on where they place it in the budget. You will find that they will indicate how much of our taxes or revenue we are going to use to service debt. And it is indicated in cities, because that is what the government of Ghana needs. To convert to dollars in order to service our debt. Even the servicing, the component that requires dollars is simply the external bit. But the domestic bit is serviced in cities. So that whole argument is flawed. You see, it is clever by half. They think they are being smart by trying to do this comparison. So you said, oh, it has increased by only 11 billion. But Randy, it has moved from 120 billion to 743. Anybody who tells you that it is better to owe 743 billion than it is to owe 120 billion is simply insane, Randy, and our means words.
But if we converted it to dollars, we will not be that distressed.
Absolutely not. If our currency,
Randy, if will be healthy.
Randy, if our currency was the dollar, we won't be having this discussion, because it will not be 46 billion will be very manageable for us.
At all, no problem.
Randy, the same institutional insanity that I speak about, they are able to tell us that they have managed the exchange rate better. And Bawumia is the one who leads this chorus. Anybody who tells you that if today you go and exchange the dollar, the cedi, for the dollar at 16 to 1, and that is better than doing so at 4 to 1, it's simply insane, Randy. Because you see, when you go to the Forex Bureau, they won't ask you about percentages. Randy, you have to cough up that 16 cedis to get $1. In any event, Randy, even if you do the percentage depreciation, it is bigger than it was in the 8 years of the NDC. And Fuseni is a finance person. Let him do the calculation right now. Whether rate of change or depreciation, which has a different formula, and Fuseni knows it. And they are able to tell us that they have managed this economy better at a time when we have defaulted on our debt. Randy, how is it that when government was in place, it was able to service debts regularly without difficulty? Just about 35% of our revenue was going to debt servicing. You come in, at one point, you needed 92% of your revenue to do the servicing. Now, you can't service at all. So in the last 3 years or so, you have not serviced debt. And you are telling us that that situation is better than what you met. Randy, you have a situation where your credit rating plummeted from B- in 2016 to junk, defaults. And you are saying you've done better. You have a situation where unemployment is 14.7%. They say that is better than it, and indeed he says they've created more jobs. Randy, I won't even bore your ears with the inconsistencies and lies they've been telling. Sometimes it's 5 million, sometimes it's 2 million, sometimes it's 2.1. But me alone has given 3 figures in the last year. Meanwhile, the Ghana Statistical Service has told us that up to 2 million of our youth are without employment. 14.7% is the figure. The highest, perhaps, in our history. And they say they've done better. Institutional insanity, Randy. You see, it is bad enough to have performed poorly. Okay? But there are times when you can admit that, look, I have done poorly, but perhaps give me a chance to do better. But when you tell them in the midst of overwhelming evidence that you've done poorly, that you have done better, you are insulting them on top of the hardships you are taking them through. And that is why Bawumia has no credibility. Nobody believes anything he says these days. That's why he has to dance comically in order to let people feel that he is one of them. Because finally, if the economy was running at full throttle, that would be his number one message. Because in this election, Randy, the key issues are the economy and unemployment. When you go to the street and you meet people, in my rounds in AAK, those are the things I'm confronted with. From women to youth to the elderly. It is about the economy and unemployment. And Bawumia is not responsive to these two. First of all, his record is abysmal. He can't hold it up to scrutiny. The reason why he fled, he has run away completely from the economy.
Anyway, any ensema yenwa Felix Kwache ebusunya wababeka ede afache se NPP manifesto no eho. Na ya Captain Smart yemfa ne de no entwa last ebusunya Captain Smart ababeka sa. Oze enrada manifesto afa omu redia yes sebi nkrofo ekofa omu free ene begu omayi mu. Ose niema bi ekoso wo ho no mu a chese wono odwun dadwon onti ase. Ose nipa chese ebusunyafo niema ekoso wo ho no mu ba bi omukoye no nipa chese ototo oye antotoye ne nyina no sebio omonsa aka no fe NPP amanyokuo ni mwedie bentia na Captain ekasa ansem nyina oboye nchiemu.
I will not say anything.
Person first year no.
Over to you.
Wait.
Obi a se wawie no. Afei wakogina hwete otenkran katwi. Odu apa yi so akoka brofo.
Wait. Bibini au.
Enra.
Person
ade a wawie dada. Afei o ka kire yen se. Obehwe mayaye.
Mo first year no
na ono adikan na waye.
Wait.
Is there any truth in him?
Yeah, the chain ni wura.
You see, that is why Nana Kumia said something. Said Adia Bawumia mpekura and said the videos dada no. Ya botchere no.
Yeah, the chain ni wura.
Bawumia, I told you from day one that somewhere around is it 2019 or 2020. We came to your house and I told you, open your eyes and your ears. Watch people with your ears and listen to people with your eyes. Your wife was there and then Gideon Bwako was also there. And I told you that you need to watch people with your ears and listen to people with your eyes. Otherwise, they will pitch you to the camp of lies. This is number one from your manifesto. Tomorrow, I'll give you another one. The things you said you've done. Pacho, Accra Digital Center. And your MPP ni siye, Mahama ni siye.
Yeah, the chain ni wura.
And you're closer to Department of Works and Housing. And you're not ni siye. That time, na Omane Boama and a minister of or for communications. And yen anado ne ba minister. That's the biggest lie. Biggest lie number 2. But you see, what fire MPP manifesto no enra? Eba no brofo de a, omo kan fine. But unfortunately, whoever organized the event yesterday, Sani Panes, or public free party. And that whole section was poorly, abysmally put together. Sound was poor. Delivery was poor by all. Any poor bear more by Bibi Kakra one. Esa actor bido. Kojo Ponkroma. Bawumia's delivery was a fiasco until it got to the last part. I know what kind ya trama na wi yenye real I mean I want analyze the NEC too. I don't care. Okay. Abaya bi no so University of Ghana level 400 no. When is man no? You see, you need to allow people to live statements they are reading or saying. Because whatever I am saying here this morning, the things I read from page 168 of Susan Williams, White Malice book, I am living that portion of the book because I quoted Susan Williams. Enti level 400 brofuni. And His Excellency of friend HE. And Saba produce Nkrofo de Bini HE J Kufo. What you say there no? Ya fa bom kura hwem. Ya fra wa ne ya wo so ama ho. Kona kokan HE. Bini HE na His Eminence ana. Ana say ye den HE
atene ne so.
Okay. Esa say ye to ye mboase. Oh, say Ghana for. Aya na madwen ye mo say me kasa na no ye hia. Na wa fa bibi kitwa bi. No yes no. No we just some papa kakraka na da hodi na ato atwere. Now I know you. So I'll give it to you as it is. Before I continue, Pacho 2016 manifesto launch na ready. Ba me kasa no. Mame no. Tieni you assume. Me wia. Yebekwa kofa 2020 manifesto launch. Yeba me kan. NDC form launch obo manifesto ni wia. The Mahama kan 2016. Any 2020. Ya de bebre even though uniabem
2024 years
what you say and baby aye do o memu ha no e say giant trotwa seba amemu a and trotwa e yo wuo and tra ni petwa wo amemu ho no epra ekumi
Bibi ni ye nipa o.
She Pualugu Dam ni first one. So we. Enu na ma ha wa kum sin ka kira o say 2 billion 200,000 Ghana ye yadam.
Gwen.
She osaje for project bi e wa asase so no. O pesa wo de won saka. Wie as waka ho asem. Don't try to destroy his image. Eba de sa wuntimi nye.
Amen o.
Temi biom. Politicians am wo krom ha no. Mo de niam di agro. Munim fom. Aya se we yakodi aduro, ni yakosie nantwie. Yesi odwan, yesi okra, yesi dabodabo. And I will conform ha, no di phobia ha, no mudimirika ko. I am sitting here and telling you today. Say osaje for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah project bi ode nsa kan ye. Wo pese wo ya wie. But don't try. Say wo be ma ase wo se no envoi.
Okay.
Since independence obi anje yen yaba be ye koshini. We are there. One can say when my Samson say, as some now quite na sempa can say where we know. 2024 Oko Upper East. Where Baba catch and so 4 years. I found Nkrumah one panier or the kind of question Ghana say Ghana for me chamuntro. But me this are your own videos. So this one will not be on your TV video.
Eti wey ene ensem kakra abusuafo Ghana fo no mu bi ababeka edi afa NPP fo endo adom manifesto launch no mo de betu edwa no eho na wo nsem wo mabeka no a ene enya asem ketwakro bi e ka na adwen edi akire NPP fo ofise mo se enema bi and to yie ewo ho no mo ensem bi mo beka ye ebi kura mbo se na sam no ba beka ye se ka de wo ba ye o na nye de wa ye atwa mu no fi se mo ankasa mo ba ye Ghana fo ye hu de mo ba ye ane sebi bebre no anim gwase yakọ sanza bebre no anso no animonyam kakra wo mu enti ni we no ye nya afei na mbabo so bebre no e de akire ye enti de mo ba ye no enu mom ene ye hwehwe enti nsem bi wo ho no ma sebi omo kyeremu se NPP fo beka ye no eye nsem hunu na nkeni kwa se ombeke kasa ensem nyina e de ekire Ghana fo won so adwenkyere wo ho ene sen fama me comment section na se no wa share video no e de amma wonua se de be ye me no so hu de ekoso e wo social media no eso na me kamfo eye hibiscus brew e de amma eye so bolo wanwa so bi e de tea house e de abaga na ha no mu sei na sa so bolo no ma asiesie ni padua no ema nipadua no eye kama enie sei na etie bottle no sei ya enetie na ahwesi bia chese omo aye no no aye hu ya no say yes so bro dey natural bi e wo mu bia enye flavor bia debi it is the hian so obeje wo de say wo ye birthday party engagement wedding ana say ye na wo pe bi kra e dey serve wa wo wo fie wo si ane vacation crofo ya be fie enti na wo si menya kakra de ma me ma no oh kama na wa to bi de go fridge nenso no men worry say bia baby a wona kwan wa wo hye bia se na say debi unya fra wo mo number no e da screen so no na wo ka kire wo se be wo ha me pe bia delivery baby brenu e de abro ogu ho no mo se bi pe bia tu ogu me stores mu aton se de be ya men so no menya men kakra wa wo ho we ne bo nya din bia e bia hu ni se ya ye ni se no ne bo edin da bi e bo ne kitu e bi fisi enim se de sisi o man hu etie enti no wo fra wo mo na wo pe bi nsu atu aton a omo beboa kwan bi abefa so abenya bi de ye be ma won sa aka bi ama won so watu aton enti de hia so kwakwaje wo de na kire se wo de ya chele kakra mso me chele me de wa he ya kama ameza no ba kunkan abowa me chele me de wa ha etika ho ne kwakwaje wo de we ye hibiscus brew so bolo at the tea house edi abamochi kwan so de omo tema community 9 eho na abehu machi kwan na number ne so na the screen so betimi afre wo mo na achese wo no madi nkomo edi afasa so bolo eho
Chemical TV, yeah. Chemical TV, anything goes. Chemical TV, for quality entertainment. Chemical TV, at the room. Chemical TV.